I always thought that wealth was the ultimate goal. I was wrong. It all began when I received the mysterious letter. I can make you wealthy beyond your wildest dreams. Come to my estate, and I will grant you everything you desire. The signature at the bottom was nothing but a simple, unreadable mark, but the letter felt real, too real to ignore. How could I resist? A billionaire offering me everything I'd ever wanted: money, power, luxury, just by meeting him at his estate? It sounded too good to be true, but deep down, I knew this was my chance. I had heard whispers about him. Victor Ansel, a self-made billionaire with a reputation for cruelty. They said he had built his empire on the backs of the desperate, exploiting people in ways that made even the most hardened criminals shudder. He was infamous, untouchable, a man whose name was synonymous with ruthless ambition. But none of that mattered. I wanted what he was offering. I arrived at his estate on the outskirts of the city, the mansion towering like a dark giant, surrounded by dense woods that seemed to swallow the sunlight. The heavy gates creaked open as I approached, and the grandeur of the place left me speechless. Marble columns, lush gardens, fountains that sparkled under the faint moonlight. It was the epitome of wealth. But something about the air felt off. It was too quiet, too still, almost as if the land itself was holding its breath. Inside, I was greeted by Victor himself. He was everything I imagined. Tall, impeccably dressed, with an unsettling calm about him. His sharp eyes glinted like shards of ice, and there was an aura of something ancient surrounding him. It made my skin crawl, but I pushed the feeling aside. "Welcome," he said, his voice smooth like velvet. "I've been expecting you." I couldn't help but feel a shiver run down my spine. "What do you want from me?" I asked, trying to sound confident. Victor smiled, a slow, calculated grin that didn't quite reach his eyes. "I've watched you for a long time. You have ambition, but more importantly, you have a hunger. You want wealth, power, and you're willing to do anything to get it. Am I wrong?" I stiffened. The truth of his words hit me like a slap. It was true. I had always felt that I was meant for more than the life I had. The constant struggle to survive, the endless cycle of poverty. It gnawed at me. I was tired of being invisible, of being small. I wanted more. "Anything," I whispered, my voice trembling with desperation. Victor's smile widened. "Then I can give you what you seek, but there is a price. I need you to eat the sins." I stared at him, confused. "What do you mean?" "The sins of a man can be consumed, absorbed. They are like poison, and once ingested, they grant the eater unimaginable power. I am offering you the chance to eat my sins." A sickening feeling curled in my stomach. "Why would you want me to do that?" Victor leaned closer, his breath cool against my ear. "Because in eating them, you will take everything I have built, the wealth, the power, the influence, everything. But be warned, the sins come with a cost. They will change you. They will consume you. Are you willing to pay the price?" I should have run. I should have walked out that door, never to return. But in that moment, greed overwhelmed me. The thought of everything I could have, the luxurious life, the respect, the admiration, was too tempting to resist. "I'll do it," I said, my voice barely a whisper. Victor led me to a dark room at the back of the mansion. The walls were covered in black velvet, and in the center of the room stood a large, ornate wooden chair, surrounded by candles that flickered like dying stars. A silver platter rested on a nearby table, and on it, a small vial of thick, dark liquid sat ominously. "This is my essence," Victor said, his voice low and steady. "Drink it, and you will absorb all that I have done. My sins, my regrets, my darkest actions, they will become yours." I hesitated, staring at the vial. A part of me screamed to stop, to leave, but I ignored it. I had made my decision. I took the vial in my hands, the cool glass pressing against my palm. Victor's voice rang in my ears. "Remember, once you start, there is no going back." I uncorked the vial and brought it to my lips. The liquid was thick and viscous, the color of blood. The moment it touched my tongue, I felt an explosion of sensations, dark, twisted memories flooding my mind. I saw faces, nameless victims, the lives he had destroyed. I felt the weight of betrayal, the crushing guilt of every terrible decision he had made, his greed, his cruelty, his manipulation. It all surged through me, poisoning my soul. But then something changed. As the liquid worked its way through my veins, I began to feel powerful. It was as if I could sense everything around me, every movement, every thought. The power surged through me, and I realized that I was no longer the same person. I had become something more. I felt invincible. I looked at Victor, who was watching me with a satisfied expression. "How do you feel?" But before I could respond, I felt a sharp pain in my chest, a searing, unbearable agony that made me gasp for breath. My body convulsed and my vision blurred. "You are starting to understand the cost," Victor said, his voice cold. "The sins are not free. They will consume you, take over your very being. You will never be the same." I tried to fight it, tried to push the darkness away, but it was impossible. The sins had taken root deep inside me, and I felt them twisting and corrupting everything I was. I screamed, but the sound was swallowed by the darkness. And then I saw it. In the mirror across the room, my reflection was no longer mine. My face was contorted, grotesque, as if the sins I had consumed had molded me into something monstrous. My eyes, those eyes, were no longer human. They were cold, calculating, filled with the same malice that had consumed Victor. Victor stepped back, his expression turning to one of amusement. "You think you've won, but you've only sealed your fate. You wanted my wealth, my power. Now you will live with my sins for eternity." I tried to scream, to protest, but no sound came. I was trapped inside my own mind, trapped in the hell of my own making. I had eaten the sins of a billionaire for his wealth, but in doing so, I had become him. The very darkness that had made him the monster he was had now consumed me, and I was lost forever.